Hi again, Jamie Harnish, Toronto Real Estate Navigator, Bosley Real Estate. Real quick, this is a part 2 video. So if you haven't seen part 1, which is the video on my business page on Facebook, immediately preceding this one, I would recommend that you take a look because I talk about the market indicators, what they are, how they're calculated, and why they are market indicators in the first place. Today's video, which again is part 2, is going to talk about those market indicators in a more specific sense. So what the numbers are for the month of October for a bunch of different areas and what they're telling us. Okay, so let's start off by taking a look at the sales to new listing ratio and the months of inventory for the Toronto Real Estate Board, or TREB. So when TREB releases the numbers monthly, their monthly statistics, the first set of numbers that you usually hear about are actually for the entire Toronto Real Estate Board, which is a huge area. Now, the sales to new listing ratio for October was 47.8%. This lies in the balanced market territory, okay, referring back to the part 1 video that I did. And the months of inventory was 2.6, which would indicate very much a seller's market. Now, if we zoom in a little bit and take a look at the city of Toronto, the sales to new listing ratio climbs. It jumps to 57.1%. So it's still in the balanced market territory, but it's approaching that 60% cutoff, which once you cross that threshold, we would be kind of entering a seller's market traditionally. And the months of inventory also kind of lowers, goes down to 2.0, indicating an even stronger seller's market. Now, for me, the city of Toronto is too big of an area to define by just that large swath of land. So in the first video that I did, I took the city of Toronto and broke it down into 2 areas. So I wanted to look at the core area and then kind of the outside area, particularly Etobicoke, Scarborough, and North York. So if we take a look at that outside ring around the core of Toronto, the indicators tell a little bit of a different story. So the sales to new listing ratio is 51.1%. That's very much right in the middle of that range for a balanced market. And the months of inventory is 4.2, and this also is in that balanced market territory. So the indication is that, you know, between Etobicoke, Scarborough, and North York as a whole, that market is very much a balanced market. Now, when we take a look at the core of Toronto, and this is just what I have defined the core of Toronto to be, the indicators show that things are still very much a seller's market. The sales to new listing ratio is 62.8%. So we've crossed that 60% kind of benchmark number and are entering into seller's market territory, although not by a huge margin. Now, the months of inventory says something totally different. It's 0.7, which is an incredibly low number, and that would indicate a very strong seller's market. Now, with the months of inventory, again, that number is really low, and it should indicate a really strong seller's market. But what I'm seeing in the market, what I'm hearing from my colleagues, what we're hearing from all the buyers that we're working with, is that the selection of inventory in the market can vary quite a bit. Some properties are very attractive, and those properties are still being listed low with an offer date kind of a week later, and are selling in multiple offers, sometimes in the double digits, and going for a lot of money. But there are a lot of properties that aren't as attractive and aren't as appealing for whatever reason, whether it's the location or the interior design or some combination of some other factors, and they're lingering a little bit longer. So that may explain some of the discrepancies between the numbers that we're seeing across all those different areas. Some of the indicators are saying balanced market, some are saying sellers, and some are saying very strong sellers. So there's obviously some variance between what the numbers may be saying and what we're experiencing in the industry with our clients. As always, if you have comments or questions, please feel free to write in the comment section below the video. You can also get in touch with me privately if you have some questions, or if you've got a topic that you would like me to cover. Have a look for the next episode. It's specifically for buyers. I'm going to talk about when in a calendar year between January and December I think is the best time to buy real estate. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.